And we begin with a City News exclusive tonight. And it's a shocker from a Toronto doctor. Even though euthanasia is illegal in Canada, he claims it is quietly being carried out across the country.
It's called terminal sedation, it's called palliative sedation. You put a person deeply into a coma with medication so that they do not ever come out and they will pass away.
Drugging the dying to death.
These are secrets that are kind of little white lies, I think. They're just not talked about.
Voilà ce qu'on espère tous pour nous-mêmes.
While politicians and lawmakers battle over the morals of mercy killing, this Toronto physician and public health expert makes a controversial claim.
The reality is that doctor-assisted suicide is happening in hospitals regardless of legislation.
Yeah, it is. Doctors do end lives without consent. For those that are truly honest about what goes on in the profession, they will say, yeah, you know, out of compassion, I know that I pushed the dose up as high as I could because the person was in pain.
The Canadian Medical Association does have guidelines on terminal sedation that state it can only be used in a patient's final 2 weeks of life.
But they're not talked about, and so people don't know that some of these things are available because doctors are not easily forthcoming about them.
This anti-euthanasia lawyer says terminal sedation is to ease suffering and is not a license to kill.
If it is happening, as Mr. Robinson suggests, that's all the more reason to doubt and to be scared of the proposition of a legalized euthanasia regime, because despite the fact of criminal prohibitions, if he's right and it's happening anyway, then what's going to stop any form of safeguards that we might put in place? That's very scary.
These are the types of drugs that we have to take every day.
Many people think about what their dream life would be like. You've thought about what your dream death would be like.
I want friends and family to be able to enter and to enjoy those moments with me. What I'd really like at the end of the life is probably a really great massage. I'd like to be sure that I get a nice box of chocolates just prior to going and leaving the face of the earth.
A medical doctor who has survived 30 years with HIV/AIDS, Robinson has a personal stake in the raging right to die debate.
I don't want to be in a situation where I'm vomiting and can't gain my composure enough to tell my loved ones I love them.
Dr. Robinson applauds Quebec's new law, but unless he moves there, it won't help him.
I would hope I don't have to do that, because I think that's complicating death.
And it's about to get more complicated. The criminal code says assisted suicide is murder, but Quebec's new law deems it medical care. That means we can expect an avalanche of legal challenges before it even takes effect.
The government will obviously consult with its lawyers, its legal advisors, and we will take whatever action in court they advise.
The Quebec law is a replica of the Belgian system, which has just controversially expanded to include children. That's not on the table in Quebec, but critics fear it could be.
When we're talking about minors and we're talking about people with dementia, those safeguards don't seem to have much meaning, and that really is another fundamental concern that we have in terms of being able to prevent the spread of this practice as a general means of a form of eugenics, in a sense.
I don't waste a lot of time with illness anymore. You know, if it's a bad day, it's a bad day.
Dr. Robinson may not live long enough to see a federal law that would let him control his own death. And so if his health rapidly deteriorates and he has just weeks to live, he knows what he'll do.
I will be the first person to request terminal sedation. I would approach the doctor about saying, I've had it. Can you just put me under now? And that the doctor can do, because that's a prescribed practice.
And so it's fairly unclear just how often this prescribed practice is actually happening, this idea of terminal sedation, which does happen in hospitals. I did a review of some of the U.S. medical journals that are out there, and there's such a wide range of the reported incidents of this terminal sedation, anywhere from 2% all the way up to 52% of the terminal.
And Dr. Donald Lowe is the most recent doctor prior to this gentleman to raise the issue again, and Quebec is kind of leading the debate on this, aren't they?
Quebec is leading the debate, and we know that as of right now, it's not as though all of a sudden it is now legal for euthanasia in Quebec. This is going to go through reams of court challenges on constitutional and criminal elements, but we will be following that with interest. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. You can reach out to me on Twitter @CityAvery.
The Inside Story runs every Tuesday and Thursday on City News. All segments are up on our website, citynews.ca.